by your talent and thank you for sharing your work with us. Turning from music to comedy, we now present John and Jane Visit England. Or more correctly, Raoul Drapeau presents them. You might not want to travel again after this one. For those with delicate sensibilities, this might be the time to turn your hearing aids off as well. Otherwise, enjoy the comedic styling of our favorite resident stand-up comedians.
Or you can turn your hearing aids up too, that's all right. So Joe and Jane visit England. This summer, Joe and Jane, residents here at Ashby Ponds, took a long-awaited vacation trip to England. It was, shall we say, a memorable experience for them. It all started at the airport, and they were in the check-in line, and they were listening to a conversation between the guy in front of them and the clerk. The guy was saying, "I'm checked in on your flight to London tonight, and my baggage here is going to Miami." The clerk said, "Miami? We can't do that." The fellow said, "Well, I'm really glad to hear that, because the last time I was on this flight, that's where it ended up." So they got through that. They're downstairs in the check-in, the security, and Jane goes through the TSA body checking, and she says to Joe that this is now I know what it's like to be groped by someone who doesn't know to say, doesn't accept no as the answer. So they finished with that, and now they're in the plane, and an announcement comes as they're seated from the cockpit. "Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is your captain speaking. Welcome aboard United Airlines Flight 915 to Paris." Paris! The place goes in an uproar. "We're not going to Paris, we're going to London." Moments later, the door to the cockpit opens. The captain rushes out with his bags. "Sorry, folks, wrong plane." So they're bumping along, and they overhear a conversation between a young mother and her young son. And he's asking her a question. "Mommy, I know that big dogs have baby dogs, and big cats have baby cats. Do big planes have baby planes?" She said, "I really don't know, but maybe the cabin attendant knows. Ask her if she's coming down." So the boy asked the cabin attendant, and she thought about it a moment. She said, "No, our big planes don't have baby planes because our big planes always pull out in time." Maybe you'll have your son, maybe you can explain that to your son later on. So finally they arrive at Heathrow Airport in London. They join their tour group, they're on the bus, and the tour leader says, "It's going to be a busy day today. We have 3 places to go to, the first of which is Runnymede." And Jill says, what's at Runnymede? And the leader says, "Well, at Runnymede, that's where King John was forced by the nobles to sign the Magna Carta." And Jill says, "When is that?" The leader says, 12:15. And Joe looks at his watch and says, "Oh, damn it, we're going to be late, we're going to miss it." His understanding of history has a few holes in it. The next stop is at Windsor Castle, one of the Queen's homes, not too far away. And they arrive there, and they get out, and they look around, and they're admiring the castle. And just then, a big 747, fully loaded, passes overhead, landing at the airport, not too far away. And the guy next to them says, "You know, this doesn't make any sense. Why in the world did they build the castle so close to the airport?" Next on the line is Stonehenge, which is a ways away. They arrive at Stonehenge, and they're looking at the dolmens and the circles. It's all very impressive. And Jane asks the question, "How old is Stonehenge?" And the leader says, "It's 5,007 years old." And Jill says, "That's ridiculous. How can you get such precision on something so old?" And the leader says, "Oh, it's easy. It was dated by the archaeologist to 5,000 years old, but that was 7 years ago." So finally, it's the last day of the tour, and they're checking into their hotel. Joe's filling out the form, the registration form, and he gets to the bottom, name, address, passport number, etc. At the bottom, there's a word that says 6 with a question mark after it, and then a box. So he's taking it quite literally, so what goes there, he's thinking about that, and he gets out his pencil, sharpened pencil, and writes very tiny little letters, not recently. Jane is tired at the end of a long day. She wants to go up and sunbathe on we have a rooftop deck in the hotel. So she puts on her bathing suit, goes up there to the top, and they have lots of these beautiful glass-topped chaise lounges there, and there's nobody else up there. She's by herself, so she figures, I'd like to get a full body tan. Whatever sun's coming, maybe I get the most of it. So she takes out her bathing suit, settles in on one of these chaise lounges, and puts a towel over her rear in case somebody else shows up. And within seconds, she hears these running sounds. And the manager comes up and he busts through the door. And he says, "Madam, you can't do this. You've got to have a bathing suit on." She says, "Why? There's nobody here. I'm by myself, and besides, I've got this towel wipe in case somebody does come up. What's the problem?" And he says, "Madam, the problem is you're lying on a skylight for the dining room." So with that, and a queenly wave, Joe and Jane wish you goodbye from sunny London.
Thank you, Raoul. I don't think I will travel after that. And if I do, I'll be